Hi guys, thank you very much for joining me. Paulina talking to you about this month of June. Okay, so by the 29th there should be a nice expansion into your truth and into your personality, into your grace and into your comfort zones. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to know this. People are still trying to cover themselves up and be somebody that they're not. And of course, when going to a social month as this, we might not actually remember who we are. And what happens to people that don't remember who they are? They get taught. They get taught. So if you don't feel yourself, if you don't want to feel yourself, if you're embarrassed of yourself, if you're embarrassed also of what has been in the past, that shows, and that can sometimes be a very aggressive experience by the end of the month, because we don't have just 3 retrogrades by the end of the month, we got 5. So the awesome job that we've done in the past has to be remembered and has to be taken care of. What is now yours and intricately true should now be cherished, and also what is not should just be not judged anymore, just not played with anymore. You just don't play with these things anymore. It's like, okay, so that was not me, or like, these are things I'm not proud of. Just let them go, leave them alone and move on. If you can, please take advantage of this incredible sweeping. It's like a broom, like a sweeping time. Sweep up and become a lot more clear on who you are and who you've been, and make yourself no more adjusted by another. So it's very, very super easy and super clear time here to be and to communicate now and to manage things on your own terms. We've got 2 stelliums opposite each other at the end of the month. By July, you should really have a nice conscious feeling, like a nice happy conscious feeling as to who you were and who you are, and as to who you're becoming and where you've been. So by the time that July turns over, there is no drama, because it feels to me that drama could very much be for people who are still covering themselves in somebody else's lives. It's for people that are still taking parts and playing roles that are not theirs. And for those of us who do not want to admit or do not want to develop further into who we are. So the thing here, I feel, is not to take things for granted that have been there for a long time. I know it's not easy, but this doesn't have to be a conscious process either. I'm feeling that the unconscious grounding in the territories that are right for us, and the morality, or perhaps like the guidelines of our lives, you know, that which has worked is really going to kick in. And it feels to me that sometimes on the traditional side, things are much better than on the side of the frivolous and the free. And the reason for that is because we're all cross-pollinating now, and we're encouraged to be superficial. And superficiality sometimes can lead to great friendships that are made for the day and not for the lifetime. And things can unglue, and things can also become a sort of how can I say, it's like a sidestep from you. So when we talked about these topics earlier, I mean, I'm sure that you probably remember I was saying chronologically define yourself and streamline who you are, streamline your consciousness, create a nice linear feeling about you, creating a nice connected feeling about who you've been and about who you're going to be. So the path is very clear. We got Saturn and the mighty Capricorn here. We've got a lot of things happening that are suggesting to me that we are going to now start to really smooth and structure that which is right for us, and what is wrong is going to show quicker, and the lies are going to come out quicker, and also all infidelities and things like that it's just not gonna be an easy ride for those people that have divinated in the past, or that are still trying to create a mask for themselves. But the most important thing I feel about June is that we're actually starting to grow in consciousness as a species, and we're actually trying perhaps now to really, really notice and to satisfy ourselves with the now, with the current now. So I feel that there is a greater satisfaction growing within what you have and in the realm of the possible instead of the realm of the illusionary. I'm feeling that a lot of fragmented realities and fragmented lives, fake esoteric or spiritual pursuits, fake emotional or social conduct, and all of those things that have worked so fine before, and have been a huge abundance for us for a long time, for many years, as Uranus was going for Aries. We really enjoyed it. We really enjoyed, you know, being like up and down, and, you know, all these different ways were really emoted through productivity of the heart, you know, the laughter, the joy, the clowning, the serendipity. Were really, really emoted for those things. But now, because we are going into Uranus Taurus and we're becoming very, very still and stormy perhaps in this incredible Capricorn stellium there, I feel that we are going to start to lose our temper very easily for some of us, with things that don't actually really matter and they don't really belong. So in terms of where you are, the best thing also is to remember that it's all going to come to an end. Everything that you have is inevitably going to find its way out of itself. So everything's an illusion, yes, and everything's going to become something else eventually, yes, but also to notice what is the right, or like the center of your life, like what is the crux of it, what is the connection point on which everything stands. And the best way to find this is in the heart. So what your heart is vibrating, how it's resonating, is now going to show how you connect to other people, what is your consciousness weaving, how you are working with knowledge, how you're working with information. What you find light in and where you are drawn is going to become painfully obvious for some, and for others is going to be, I feel, a mistake not to look at those inner voids. Though in Gemini it is not easy, but it feels to me, even though it might be hard to look at yourself now, it is much easier to do it as soon as you can than by the end of June, where things are getting very, very sappy for some people in Cancer here. The Cancer month, as we're heading towards June and July, I feel is going to become a very sad and chaotic place, and also a very dramatic place for some people that are not capable of holding themselves together and not really feeling the truth of the now. So definitely, if you can combine all the truths of you, try not to think about this too much, but just streamline, and I've been saying this for ages, don't do the work you don't need to do. That was almost like the anthem of last year for me, I felt, and a lot of my work has been to help other people cut down their process. And now that you have, perhaps see if you can further streamline who you are through what you're doing, what you're saying, and just what you're thinking every day. So streamline you, streamline what you have, and also don't be afraid to see who is not really there but they look like they are, and who is there but you don't want them to be as well. So perhaps for some of us it is family members that we're not playing well with, but say we've got a friend overseas that doesn't actually exist. Or there's also people that are working with the other scale of this, so they actually have to walk away from their previous pursuits and go towards something quite scary and quite out there. If you are somebody who has taken their life to the limit and are now living so far outside of their family zone. So it depends where you are. So basically see what's real, what's resonating, and who you are becoming through that which you communicate with and through, and how. So social media, all these different methods, I feel that they're becoming very cheap and easy for us, and it feels to me that a lot of us cannot actually understand how much wealth we've lost, and also maybe perhaps also gained through these types of methods. But I feel that a lot of people that like to be online quite often perhaps, or that have a very, very secure relationship with their device, might now understand that there is a hidden sorrow behind what they do, and the interactions that they have are not true. So have a look as to how you can describe yourself better to yourself first, perhaps make a friend of yourself, make greater compassion in the heart for you, and then out of greater compassion and out of greater connection with you, perhaps try to connect to others. And the most important project, I feel, is not that which comes out to the masses. Even though we are in the dog year, it is what you can actually go on with, because here you are in quite a lot of luck. Perhaps if you are creating projects, if you are putting out books, or if you are making something, you can create something that really outlasts you during this time, as we have North Node here facing Leo. But at the same time, consider if you are going into a scheme, into a social business, if you're going to do something with a friend, if you are making some kind of a pact or a concept, whatever it is, there is a permanence to this month like no other. So consider, if you are making a friend, if you are making a pact, if you're making a contract, do you really want it to be your life? As there's lots of ways in which it could. And also in terms of social interactions, psychology of everyday life, things like this, the amount of psychosis that I'm seeing at the moment and me as well and other people is so amazing, just based on not really wanting to give in and trying to fight for the dream that perhaps wasn't quite yours, or trying to make yourself make a dream that can mask your own reality spectrum. That is happening, I feel, to all of us on some sense, on some level. Most of people that I've seen lately are trying and praying for something else and are not actually really that easy with the now. So if you are noting yourself to be very, very perhaps innocently uncomfortable every day, if you're noticing that you're uncomfortable every day, if you can't face today, if you can't face yourself, try and compromise within and don't make other people belong within it, because it is so very easy here to rip another person out of their spectrum because you're not comfortable with yours and so on. But when we are going into Cancer, the turning of the month, it might actually give a lot of issues to people, because with Cancer I feel there comes a lot of tears this time around. There could be a lot of tears, or there could be a lot of weird things happening if we are not yet comfortable where we are in Gemini. So also another thing for Gemini is comfortably structure your mind. What's your mind? If you can. If you can't, that's okay, but take some time to feel and maybe to introspect within yourself. And occasionally also it's so nice to just be yourself and not to have to pass on knowledge all the time. In this type of time you can really feel it, and I feel you can really get it. And perhaps in this awakening, super awakening month, we can perhaps even become a little bit too obvious to ourselves, and we can take ourselves way out of where we've been, and we can actually start to really put things together right. But this has to be almost entirely exactly what you feel and what you believe, because it's like nobody can teach you better than you. And it also is a very uncomfortable feeling sometimes to teach another person, because usually during this time there is a togetherness, this type of energy, there is a togetherness and there is a shifting within. But then no matter how much we give to each other, and no matter how much we try to give an impression of ourselves to each other, or the impression of the other to ourselves, we can't really get it right until the veils are truly off in Cancer. And here, when the veils are off, I feel in Cancer, we will actually understand what we've done and why. So really commit if you can. Don't involve other people in your true puzzle. There is not actually that much room, I feel, to make a mistake here. So if you are working within yourself and you are trying to really get to the crux of it, if you're developing faith, you know, if you're starting to believe in God, or you're trying to believe in yourself more, or you're starting to believe more in some kind of therapy, so some kind of like way of working, or some kind of like a spiritual practice, it would be so good not to involve another person in the very deep and meaningful stuff. But with other people, check them out. I feel that this is not really the time to rip people out of your life unless you want them gone forever. And it is not really a good time to scrutinize others either, but it is so easy and social for some reason this year specifically to twist and turn other people like toys in your hands and just to see how they work. But it feels to me that the most damaging stuff is done when we do not know it, but when we scrutinize another person, we're actually inflicting that pain upon ourselves. And also, we do not perhaps know this, but more and more of us are developing friendships and relationships through the need to scrutinize somebody else except for ourselves. And to not love ourselves is easier sometimes for some when we have somebody else to push and prod at. So it's very good not to put yourself into these relationships if you know that you're doing it on purpose, if you know that you're going online just to get angry, if you know that you're going to go have a coffee with someone just because you want to see them sad, or if you're developing friendships or relationships with people just because it makes you feel good inside when they're not in a good place. So definitely, if you can, quit any kind of stirring, you know, with another person. So for example, with social media, you know, with this type of thing, if you are watching these videos to feel anger or resentment, or you have almost like a scapegoat for your inner unwellness, it is very easily converted back into energy that can be used personally against you. So when we poke and prod at each other, we should really understand here that we are going to have to face that change, not on the side of the observer, but sometimes on the side of the receiver. So what goes around comes around here. And for sure, a lot of people don't know this, but we can feel now. We can feel now, and consciousness is not just developed now, it is super hypersensitive in an unconscious, like unexplainable way beyond words. And if you have a person in front of you that is not able to see your heart, and is not able to see your soul, is not able to see your life as a real life, and if you are being poked at and prodded at, that is sincerely, deeply traumatizing, and it cannot be perhaps explained or expressed or proven, but that becomes a scar. Okay, so the other thing also perhaps with beauty procedures, with any kind of surgeries, with any kind of extreme methods of healing, and also anything to do with skydiving, you know, mountain biking, all things that are going to perhaps be accident prone for you. Really careful, because there's a permanence here. With love and meeting of the one, this is, I feel, more of a time to really get to know ourselves. We got Jupiter very, very strong on Scorpio. We've got a lot of different things that are suggesting to me, get into it, get really knowing, you know, really understand your craft, really understand your time, really understand your speech, really understand how you are. And then through this you can do a lot more. But for some of us, yeah, for sure, if you feel completely fearless, like you have completely figured it out and you're just bored and you're sitting there and you're dangling your feet and you're watching us and you're kind of bored, then yes, permanence is in the air. Some relationships though will never move. So for example, that's actually another thing to mention. If you are in a social scheme where you are texting and messaging another person more than you're seeing them, that might not move for a while. If you are interested in just having a coffee but you don't want to take it further into any kind of intimacy or any kind of relationship, that can be there for a while. So have a look. Also, rediscover your friends. Rediscover your friends. So what I mean is rediscover how they think, what they make you feel, perhaps what you guys are really contributing to, and also see the patterns. The patterns is like, are you guys just there to argue? Is there just a hidden like sexual urge? Or maybe do you guys really not like each other and you're just fighting but you're pretending to laugh? What are the hidden secret emotional messages that you're sending to each other? But don't tear anything, just see how that reflects yourself. And perhaps what changes at first you can make in order to make that friendship better. But if you can't and you don't really think it'd heal, and especially if there is drugs involved, alcohol, negative behavior, or just like negative talk, and every time you end that meeting, you come home and you cry, you feel uncomfortable, perhaps it is a very, very interesting permanent time to snap things off. It is a permanent energy. So it's like you're breaking off a twig and that twig will never grow back. So do have a look as to how and why you have people around. Maybe there's 2 or 3 people that are just remnants of the past, of the troubled times when you were younger. And we all have these, you know, we all have these during this type of era. Most of us have the friends perhaps that we didn't really have to keep around, but a lot of us don't anymore. And perhaps have a look as to how you can commit more to the mending of things rather than breaking things off, unless there are actually that which prevents you from mending. So have a look. And yes, permanent measures and permanent experiences, big choices for some. It's an interesting time to launch a scheme. It's a really interesting time to make a product. It's an interesting time to cause trouble as well. It's very, very fascinating as to how much things imprint during June. So really careful. What you say, what you think goes a long way, and what you feel does miles more than before. So concentrate on you, and if you are progressive enough, lucid dreaming is not good for everyone, but for those who are in those realms constantly, it's an interesting way to get masterful at it. And yes, get inside your own head and in your heart, sort things out, pack things away, clean up, and yes, be diligent about your world. Thank you very much, and I will see you next time. Hi Aries, thank you very much for seeing me. Okay, so just a few notes on this incredible month, and yes, it's not all totally entirely for every Aries out here, but it is good. So with June, please don't be so hard on yourself. It is so easy to take into consideration what you've done. It is very, very easy to get very, very obsessed and upset about things that you have been or that you feel like. It's very, very easy to get very, very nervous and very, very almost childish about things. Do I feel good in my body, or you know, do I feel well enough in this type of outfit? You know, so people can get very, very randomly grotesque also to an Aries when an Aries does not feel right. So feel right, self-compassion, self-reflection, exercise, creating new ideas. If you really want to, I mean, you can. If you really want to, you can. Optimistic feelings, optimistic mind. Aries should not really have to work so hard. But the thing that sometimes reflects badly on you, Aries, is that we don't really trust what you have become, and perhaps you don't either, because you are the new, and sometimes the new goes in a circle and comes back again to the previous stages of life. So you might actually recognize that you're already doing that. So with some Aries, you might be embedding and imprinting during this time something that is perhaps quite awfully old-fashioned, or something that is kind of like old-fashioned to you. If you are becoming a little bit uncomfortable about what you've done in the last few years, or if you are starting to become a little bit old-minded, or old in your schemes, or you're starting to resemble mom and dad, don't. The thing about you guys is that you're not really meant to believe in anybody else but yourself. So if you are capable of, please understand as to how much you've grown and developed, even though you might have really shaken the tree. You might have really rocked the boat, and you might have done a few different things before Uranus came into Taurus. You might have already sort of seen that there were certain links that you've created in the past that weren't totally right, that were just exciting to experience. So the most important part of this is not growing up. It is just basically being okay with everything that you've got. The very, very fun, loving and pure thing about Aries during this month is not it's not fighting yourself. You know, it's not fighting yourself. It's like you can now perhaps commit to something. There's lots of different ways in which you can commit. I mean, for some people it's organizing what they've got, and for other people it is not. But it feels to me that it is your choice, Aries. It is your choice. But if you are now starting to fathom a new frontier, and you're really pushing hard, this is an etching month. We are etching into the past, present, future time. I'm feeling that this is actually a very, very strong imprinting frequency if you are going towards the top. If you are making a break for it, consider how you're going to choose your time, how you're going to choose your life, how you're going to choose later on down the track. It is a very, very gorgeous time to not commit. It's actually a very gorgeous time to embrace what you are and what you have for now, and not to push on through, because the more that we push during this time, the more likely we are to resound through space and time. So no pushing. A really wonderful thing about you, Aries, during this time is that you can just really be as quiet or as passionate as you want. There is really no trend here. There's nobody to impress. I mean, if you like just sit there and you kind of look at other people and you sort of let them go and you just watch them go past, or you just watch them as what they do, you might not need them anymore. You might even change the way that you think. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of simmering, like simmering in, simmering down, getting into that really comfortable mode and sort of like sitting there and letting things imprint. And occasionally with this type of energy, you might see, wow, I never needed this person's attention. I don't even like this person. Or like, wow, I didn't really want them around as much as I thought I did. Or like, this person does not really have that value to me. They have a much greater value to me, or these things don't matter anymore. So things can change, but it feels to me that sometimes it is hard. It's like tears in the eyes, trying to push on through to the new and to the next. But with the current sky, it is hard to push, especially if you don't trust your previous moves. But if you do, and if you are here and you go on, I knew it, you guys, I knew it. I knew this would happen. And you're like saying, things were exactly as I thought 6 years ago. You know, or like, I've come out the other side and I found that what I was into, what I was after, was totally it. You know, like, I have broken through. I have totally somehow landed on my feet. And if you can see that everybody else struggles, help them. Help them. That's another thing. So a compassionate gaze. But unfortunately with the current energy, with Chiron here and everything like that, it might be a lot easier to get resentful and hateful sometimes than to help another person. Unless you're just naturally truly compassionate. If you are in this state where you are and almost like a disbelief of how great things have turned out, and you have taken a few steps back if you are that resonant with yourself, Aries. Only if you're resonant. And if you're no longer turning yourself in your hands, like, whoa, you know, if you are that resonant, step a few paces back and watch. And it might be so beautiful to fall in love with what you have. And then when you have these like 6 or 7 people that you're constantly on the go with, perhaps, it is so nice to take their hands and to carry them forward into the greater truth. But by doing this also, you might want to see where you've come out, how you've come out, what you have done, and how you're better off. And if you don't really feel sure, put it on paper and see where you've been before Uranus went into Aries, so before 2010, 2011, and where you are now. So in retrospect, really come to terms with you. By doing that, I feel you'll get a lot more. So thank you very much, Aries, and enjoy this time. If you don't feel good, if you don't feel like you're blueprinting well, sometimes it is just about the fresh. It's about fresh water, it's about fresh scenery, it's about that fresh new necklace, it's about that fresh new person sometimes. But don't overdo progression towards something, because sometimes with this type of energy, the progression cannot bring much unless it is truly chronologically and energetically viable, and everything is well oiled. So unless it is totally sound, I would probably suggest not to progress too harshly or too knowingly into the future, unless you are usually supported. So have a look as to how you can do that, and yes, enjoy this time. Thanks a lot, Aries, and all the details are in the caption section below. Hi Taurus, wow, lucky you, lucky me, lucky us, okay? So Taurus, you guys have a very, very beautiful, pure perspective of one another. I think that you have a very true knowing and a very, very gracious believability about you. It feels to me that a Taurus person can just see us. And also I feel a Taurus girl or guy can probably see the best. I feel that they can see the best. If you're a stylist or beautician, what a beautiful time to expand your craft. If you're somebody who likes to see the best in people and works in a collective of souls, what a beautiful time to really bling and really, really believe in how great you are. Culture, you're very cultured now. I'm feeling that Taurus is a very, very cultured and very, very progressive energy. It feels to me that Taurus can be one of the most sophisticated frequencies in a group. It feels to me that Taurus can be one of the most progressive people in a group at the moment, and they can also sometimes for a long time perhaps not notice, but they could be the greatest almost like piece of consciousness. It's almost like the greatest crystal or the greatest climax of a situation without knowing that they are. So it's like you are the pinnacle here without really knowing, and perhaps you don't want to see that occasionally you are the it girl or guy, and sometimes without really knowing why. Your old ideas or your previous methods worked, but now they are not just working, but other stylists or other people or other therapy people, you know, other therapists are using those ideas. You might also want to not do much more. So if you are looking at your life and you're saying, oh my gosh, I actually had my finger on the pulse for a long time and now I'm really seeing where I belong, that's awesome. But I feel that the best thing here is not to prolong any kind of emotional sensitivity to you having had it without knowing that you had, because sometimes with our sky like this and also our heart so open, you can perhaps believe in you so much that you become a portal for something else, or you become somebody else's guest but not the master, or you can become underneath something else as a person who works for another. So it's very, very easy here for Taurian people not to have enough resonance perhaps, and not to have enough courage, and not to have enough love, and have more placement as a product or as a host, maybe like as a service or like a serving person rather than a human being. Try to humanize and not reduce yourself to a task. It is so easy here to become that lush pair of lips, you know, that beautiful pair of legs. It's so easy here to become the best looking person in a group. It's so easy to be the nicest host and the best mum, you know, or the greatest hero. But then at the same time, how humanizing is that? And how humanizing are you? So surprisingly, I feel Taurus opens up our hearts here like nobody else. I feel that you're incredibly human to us. I feel that you humanize and harmonize with us. It also feels to me that you really take advantage of where before there was none. And I also believe you. Like, I just believe you. I feel that Taurus is an incredible, believable energy. So try to celebrate it. Yeah, mark it if you like. If you finally feel the strength in yourself to go further with your job, you can. If you are starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel with what you've done, if you are starting to push through a greater sense of ability, if you're starting to become a better professional or a better person at your job, that's a wonderful thing. But the thing is not to become completely that, because it is very easy here to not know it, but to still be a cog in a machine after a while. So the thing about your Taurus is not to estimate yourself as a cog in a machine. So to know that your greatest development is not necessarily for what you can give and how much more you can afford for other people, or what else you can please another person's senses with, is actually not about that at all. It's more about the consideration, the consideration that you have for things, and a new sense of being important. You need to feel more important, I feel, than you do. So to me it feels that Taurus can very easily decide, I'm important now because I have more, or I'm important now because I'm the new trend, or I'm important now because I'm beautiful, or I'm important now because I have a new skill, or I have a skill that I perfected to a great extent, or I'm important at this job or with this person. But if you are, it would be very, very nice to see it as just a building phase. It's like a building phase. It's a phase for your own development. It's the phase for development of your psyche, but it is in no way the end of the road. That is not the prize. Being successful, or being newly understood, or being newly accentuated, or being the it girl or the it guy is great. It is amazing, but it should never be the pinnacle of your life, because the greatest gift to us all is you. You are enough, you know. So Taurus, you are enough. But the thing also here is not to worship yourself as well. So it's like staying humble, and to not worship the job or the new context for your life. It feels to me that the most important things that sometimes Tauruses can do in such a time is to create space for more. So for example, if you have been married recently, or you have recently found a job, don't just stop there. Just become open, or become perhaps aware, or even more accepting of what's next. So create the new experiences into something that is normal for you, and accept things as what they are. It might be very hard sometimes. The people that I have seen in the past usually make a big deal. Usually people make a big deal out of what they have not had before and what they got now, what they haven't yet got. Usually people make a big deal, but the thing here is not to make that deal. Don't make any deals. Basically, if you are given something, just accept it. And if you're not given something, accept it as well. So it's like easy come, easy go. If you are elevated, that's fine. If you are not, that's fine. The world should now pave a really nice, easy perspective for you. So the nice, easy perspective is where it's at. And the nice, easygoing people is where it should all come to. Nice, easygoing people. Nice, easygoing understanding, a nice, easygoing collective. If it is not, perhaps you are karmically driven, and there is a point that you're making with things. And quite often karma here is actually not good or bad deeds in the past. Sometimes it's a formula that you've created in your head. So for example, you walk into work and you say, there is this type of woman that works at my work, and of course she would do this. And sometimes it's not actually even the woman. It's nothing personal between you two. Sometimes it is just the choice that you've had to break the spell, but you didn't, and it became a pattern. So the pattern is probably there, at least on some level, with a certain type of person or certain type of experience. And these patterns are formulas that we create. So if you can, discontinue any formula that you have with another person and try to see everything as just okay. It's normal. Say, for example, you won an award. Great, that's normal. You got a new job. Great, that's normal. Just connect to it without knowing higher or lower, because sometimes it's very easy here to fixate, and then that becomes your truth, and then everything else becomes in alignment with it. So try to also see nature, the nature in you and the natural parts of you as the most important ones, and not to become somebody else's slave by accident, and not to enslave yourself into any kind of process that seems to work, because quite often sometimes these can become monolithic, almost like engravings on your life, which then perhaps you might not want to continue later. So it's good not to commit to anything full-heartedly, and not to design for yourself a complete deciding on where you're at, unless it is just something that comes easy. Because sometimes with Taurus, during things shifting like we are shifting here unconsciously in Gemini, you might take the bull by the horns and want to change your life completely, or you might want to even evoke almost like a forceful, like a forceful situation with something or somebody. So the forceful energy was welcome for a while, but I feel now here it's not, as it might be something that then later forces you. So force applied should be very, very light. So the lighter the better, and the lighter your dreams or the lighter your visions, the clearer. Thank you very much, Taurus, and enjoy your month. Hi Gemini, thank you very much for seeing me. Thank you very much for wondering about me. Thank you very much for being with me. Thank you very much. Paulina here, talking to you about you and this incredible, eccentric and weirdly egoic month of June. So you might actually have a lot more courage and freedom than others, and I actually feel that you have a lot more than you do. And I think that there is something lined up around you or within you or in your field. There's just so much lined up for you guys. It feels to me that Gemini has an uncomfortable amount of curiosity for things that are unconscious, and I feel that perhaps Gemini has an uncomfortable amount of wealth or uncomfortable amount of situations lined up, or even multiple people, multiple jobs, multiple things. It's like collections. But for some of you guys, I don't really feel that's it. I feel that there's got to be something more developed and worked into this. It's like the paints are there, the canvas is drawn, you know, but the most important thing here is not to continue showing off and showing up and say becoming a master of multiple lives or the master of multiple hearts and multiple worlds. I have a feeling that the most legit and astounding Gemini is the Gemini that can really work and really cultivate themselves within themselves during this particular type of month. So if you work a lot on your own stuff and you have maybe 3 or 4 different people in your life that you're constantly dancing with, but they don't know about each other or they don't work well together, if you have 4 or 5 different missions in mind, or you just have 4 or 5 different dreams, it may not be exactly what you need when you are waking up or growing into yourself further and seeing, oh my gosh, I got like 4 or 5 different dreams and I can't put them together, I can't make it work. And later with age, like in our 40s and 50s, sometimes that cannot be giving enough to us, you know. So like hobbies and dreams and ideas are that which works, but sometimes for this type of cycle we have to really hone in and get very diligent and get very, very mature about things. You know, we've got to get mature here, and the more you can structure within that one business or within that one world or within that one spectrum, I feel the more you will receive, unless you really don't want to. If you really don't want to, this can happen with all of us, you know. It can happen with poets and readers and writers and workers and just people, bosses. It can happen with anybody on any level of life. Sometimes there is something overdone, or sometimes you just don't want to commit to that one thing which you know is you. And why that is because sometimes you can see that it can be a very, very grueling process to eventually having to legitimize your soul in the physical world, having to eventually have a picture for who you are, having to eventually have a mold or a structure for you. It's like, oh, that's so me, you know, oh, that's so you. It's like, that's such a thing to say. You would totally do this, or you totally say this. And sometimes during this incredibly amazing month where a lot of doors are open and perhaps a lot of things are on the menu or on the table for you, it could be very, very exciting to just try to be someone else. And sometimes it is not about self-medication, it's not about grief or illusion. Sometimes it's just not wanting to yet commit, not wanting to wear the big boy pants yet, you know, not wanting to get yourself aligned to that one particular human or that one particular person. It is not interesting sometimes to be in a family during this time. It is just not. Occasionally with this type of sky, it's almost like, because Geminis, you know, guys have a lot of power this year in general, but sometimes like, well, what's power if I can't have fun? What's power if I can't just be free? And this is it basically, because we are working on free. We are working on free as a collective, but we're not going to be free yet, I feel. The freedom movement, the motion towards a bigger, bluer sky, the freedom motion towards larger pastures is in the nitty-gritty of the everyday world. And sometimes here we have to trust that things will work out, you know. And I feel that you guys perhaps in this month of June don't go with the flow, perhaps because you don't want to be taken advantage of, you don't want to be committed yet. But the more I feel you can commit to that one scheme, or pull all this beautiful frequency out and generate it as one future, like becoming that one person, becoming that one streamline emotion, you know, emoting through that one piece of art, or feeling that one picture of life. You know, the more you can be one, Gemini, I feel the more you will become later. But that's an investment. Doesn't that sound like a weird investment? It's a weird investment. The one feeling, the one energy, the one belief, or the one God, or the one group, or the one frequency, or that one energy, you know, that one extreme perhaps, or that one thing will inevitably give you the works. But sometimes it is very difficult to see what that might be. So if you are already aware, and I feel that you have clarity like nobody else here, you have clarity like no one else, Gemini, you might see what it is. If you can, try and structure your life if you struggle. But if you don't, and you feel that life is just a bunch of chocolates, you know, it's just a funny world, it's just a funny dive through the ether, it's just a funny work of art, it's just a big smile, just a big you know, if you are that person, and you're that person without any kind of what I call dreamer's disease, if you are that person without having any shadow, and you have absolutely no one inside you that feels lost, upset, or tormented, if you are totally that, I salute you, because I don't even know if you guys exist or not. That person can be positive 100% of the time, or the person that can see life as a game all the time is very, very rare, and quite often it comes with great karma energetically. Otherwise, you know, it could be, there is always two sides, okay? So if you can be, please understand that people that are karma free, and they can do anything they want, completely anything they want, without wanting to help another, without needing to reciprocate with the shadow of life, are not usually on this planet, you know, that's not usual. But if you feel adamant that you are, then perhaps that's your truth to experience. It feels to me that it is really good to consider both sides of life. It is very good to consider what is dark and what is light, and how you can combine the two to become more of yourself. And how is to become one one within a certain practice or a certain experience or a certain type of concentration technique or something, because you will perhaps not need what you generate. So that's another thing. So in June, consider you might not spend well the money that you are reaping like fruit off a tree. You might not want to keep those people around that you are constantly calling or messaging, and you might not actually want to have half of what you make happen. But if you are concentrating on that one thing that happens for you a lot, or you're concentrating on that one person or that one emotion, I feel you'll get a lot more out of this life and a lot more out of June. So thank you very much. Happy birthday if you have your birthday. And if you've had your birthday in May, happy birthday, Gemini, and I hope that you enjoy your month. Thank you. Bye. Hi Cancer, just a few words about you. Okay, so June, we got the beginning of you at the end, yes, and you're probably looking forward to that. So it's a very, very nice time to be consolidated and to be sorted. It's such a nice time. And don't deny this need sometimes to just be held. It is so nice to give another person the ability to hold you though. And for a lot of Cancers, there is more walls than there are openings. And sometimes a Cancer may, in a really old-fashioned, distraught sense, try to give themselves love through ideas of being unnurtured or being unheld, because people are all like this, or you know, this will always happen, or this will always take place, or I cannot ask for more because I don't believe this person will give it. You know, I will not ask. You know, I will just sit and I will just wait for them to know what I'm thinking. What is this? When you are trying to make another person give to you what they don't know that you're asking for, you're insane. That's impossible. It's impossible. We're going for your 12th house here. It's very easy to have an insane wish or desire. It's very easy to insanely wish upon, for example, a child to keep the family together. It is totally crazy, but it's true, maybe, what you want. And I feel that if you are in a crazy need for something, or you are crazy mad in love with something, or you crazy mad want something to happen, quite often with this particular sky, it is possible. It's possible. How are you doing? How are you going? How are you feeling? Because you can really give a lot here, and the emotional energetic frequency here is not of love. Perhaps it is more of needs. 12th house, well, I didn't have enough of this, I want this. You know, I want this person to stay forever. I want my daughter to have a baby. You know, I want marriage. You know, I want this. And there's going to be perhaps a lot of wishes that are beyond this world. Maybe like, I want the world to do this, or I want this man to be this, or I want all the people I know to now do this. And you can, ironically, perhaps, not want it at all when it happens. And the most important thing here, Cancer, is to seclude yourself down, 12th house here, and see your own mind. See your mind. You might actually not believe it, but a lot of what you have in your life is you reflected back to you in a different way. I feel that asking and wanting sometimes has a backward point, but how to use this energy? Yeah, okay, so if you're an esoteric person, if you use magic a lot, you know, if you are worshipping the mind and you believe that you can achieve anything you want, great, okay. What do you want? Ask, what do you want? And before you go, yes, 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 try to make it as clear for you as day as to what you're asking for. You can say something like this: I want my family to all live together in the one house. That's just what I want. It's done. That's what I want. And it's so easy to say that, but did you consider that there are a lot of implications with this? Did you consider how their lives might be changed? Are you considering perhaps as to how the esoteric agenda or the manifestation agenda is breaking up your own world? Because nothing is free, nothing's forever. And sometimes Cancers can forget that. it is very, very easy here to resonate so much and be in such strong, obvious want that you can perhaps later on, when you come back to this point in life, think, oh, I had it all. Why did I want that? So yeah, the family lives together, but be careful what you ask for, because it is not exactly totally true for every Cancer, but sometimes the wish that comes from lack and the wish that comes from neglect and self-pity and things like that can become an omen for someone else, and it can be a lot of different things that perhaps you don't actually need to experience later in life or in the next life, if you believe in such a thing, or like after death. You can create a big karmic issue here, and also very, very careful with your family, very careful with the fears of others. It is very, very guru time not to notice perhaps that which you don't want as much as that which you do, because it's 12th house. You can say, no, I don't want you to say this, I don't want you to be this, I don't want this happening, and I don't want this happening. And sometimes you can actually crush somebody else's dream in order to make it your own, or you can make different types of alterations to life. It's a very magical magnetic month, but if you do not trust your own love, and if you don't actually have a lot of light and joy, you can pass on a code, and that code becomes yours. And sure, perhaps for a while the wish can come true, but the obvious conclusion here is not in the wish and in the making of other people to do what you want as like a secret kind of like guardian or like the secret king or queen of the world. It is not actually about this at all. It's actually about your own sentient mind, you know, the sentiments that you have within yourself and the truth in which you live all the time. The most perfect time for now is relationships that you have had to now not be noted as bad. Just not be noted as bad. It's such a nice time to just clean it all up. It is so nice to throw out the garbage of the past and not to carry it on in the future. It is so neat now not to stature yourself higher or lower than another person, and it is so good just to let it all go and complete cycles and complete a lot of things. You can really complete tasks, you can really finish up, and you can also end things that perhaps feel bleak in your future because you're afraid as that's happened in your past. So it's really nice to no longer feel betrayed or paranoid about things, and it is so easy here to really combine with somebody who really trusts and believes in you, but only if you are not constantly on the spiky edge of love or on the soft edge of hate. So there could be an interesting dominance over another person, and there's also like a submission at the same time. It's a very difficult slippery slope here with people, and the best I feel here is to feel free, and yes, if you love them, let them go. So thank you very much, Cancer. Allow and enjoy. And if you'd like to know more about me, there's links below. Thank you very much and have a good June. Hi Leo, thank you very much for being here. Paulina here talking to you about your remarkable June. So with all of us there is a little bit of a imprinting time, and perhaps if you do like to be with others, at the moment you're kind of walking around them going, whoo, I don't know where you've come out, I don't know where you've been, I don't recognize you, or I don't quite know who you are. So go with that feeling. So it feels to me that a lot of people perhaps are enticed by you or are loving you, and maybe they have no idea. Maybe they don't actually need to be around you, but they just really love your frequency. It's so easy to love you during this particular month. It is so easy and carefree to just want to be next to you, want to squeeze you, want to be around you. It's so free and so easy to be with you. Leo, it is really nice to be love and be yourself. It is so also easy to get married, to get involved, and to get enticed into things that perhaps for you might be trivial later. It is so easy to become the best and the most anointed son or daughter. It is so easy here to become the most prestigious and the most elite, or the most loved and the most entertained person in the world, where other people perhaps are somehow looking at you and going, where have you been all my life, Leo? Leo, you're it. Leo, you're it. But the thing is to also trust your gut. It is so easy to get informed on things that are not true. It is so easy to become somebody's number one when you perhaps do not actually really want to do that much with that person. And it is also very, very, very simple and easy here to become part of a game for someone else. So Leos, if you can, please step over and find what it is that you really want to do. Who you are actually becoming. Perhaps the old projects are now flaking off. Maybe the old desires and the old designs for life are now no more. And here you have the choice to be so new and so you that nobody else is going to probably quite notice or understand as to what you have become. Eventually, you will just be everything. What I mean is, okay, you could really find love and the universal God blueprint here. Not kidding you. I've been before very skeptical about Leos and the universal knowledge and the esoteric mind. Here you got a lot to see. I feel that if you sidestep away from the hullabaloo of the everyday life and whatever's trying to play with you or whatever's trying to cuddle into you, you may just accidentally find something huge. It is so easy to go inside and to accidentally come upon the best idea in the world in your own mind. It is mighty, mighty easy also to be imprinted by another person and not to notice what you have inside. It is so, so easy here to go out into the astral by accident and to start energetically, outwardly discovering or projecting ideas into the collective all. It is also super easy to stay in bed all day with that person that just looks so beautiful when they smile. And the choices are here. You can choose the worldly or like the simple energy, and you can also choose the mighty galactic mind. But they are not sort of like apart from each other either. And I know I've said like, you know, keep things grounded, but for some reason I feel that a lot of Leos aren't grounded where others are and are grounded where others are not. So for example, you could be an ungrounded person every day, like say going through the actions, you know, walking around the city, going shopping could be very ungrounding for you. But for example, you could be a genius conductor and you could provide the most grounding to a whole orchestra than anyone has ever seen. Genius potential grows fast here, and ideas are in the collective mind and they're given away like this. Ideas, dreams, abilities, visions, radical genius thought, everything that is all about you and all about being probably one of the very few people that can, is there. Writing, reading, esoteric knowledge for people that have been there for a long, long time. If you are into it, perhaps practice. If you are, if you're like, for example, doing ballet, it is the best time to get the most out of your practice. It is the most amazing time to get amazing results from your work. It has to be yours and it has to be entirely for you. So it's not anything to do with another person thinking you're good. It has got nothing to do with people giving you applause, but ironically applause are there. So the choice is yours to either go where people are applauding you, they want you there, which is fine, it's great for now. Or you can go towards the unlimited amount of pleasure and discovery that you are offered now, as your astral being is ginormous, is dimensionally vast. So the amount of concepts, the amount of genius thought, the amount of genius, creative, cooperative, and just blissful ideas is just absolutely unlimited. But by staying home, by having someone around, by having just, you know, something to do, by doing things the same as everyone else, by being happy that someone finally gives you a smile, or by being happy that finally someone sends you that message, or that you finally get to date that person that you had a crush on for 2 or 3 years, you might bend your life around that particular wow. And that particular wow can maybe last a few years, but do they really echo through your lifetimes? Probably not. So have a look as how you can probably ascend past what you think of yourself very quickly. That concept that was a genius concept to you 4 years ago is going to become very small now, and it's probably just a side step from who you are. So larger concepts, larger structures, larger schemes are here, but they're not in the traveling between people, talking about stuff, you know, being yourself. It's not that which will give. I feel that the most is in the dreams, the most is in prayer for some people, the most is in really deep esoteric immersion, in tantra for some people, if you're not traumatized by that stuff. If you have a lot of inner glow, if you have a lot of inner world opening here, you can really achieve a lot. I mean, to me, this is without measure. This is without measure, and it almost feels to me like an powering wave of might, which is directed particularly at you if you are interested in becoming a more devout practitioner or a more devout art person, or like a artist, or like a more devout expression of yourself, expression of your heart, or a greater mind. You can really elevate your whole world. You can lift your whole life, and you can lift a lot of other people's lives, not for just giving them a pat on the back and a smile. You can lift everybody else's experience through enormous need perhaps to discover more. So through enormous desire to expand, and through the dream that is available to be yours. But if the dream is to sit together and cuddle, that is going to become the rest of your path probably, and maybe time will come where you don't respect or resonate enough with just the daily grind, as most Leos do have these illusions of grandeur, which are not actually, they're just the design to lift everything up and over into greatness. And these experiences with another person, you know, why not as well? You know, love, cuddles, sensuality, you know, connection, that's really great. It can be great. If you've known them for a while, you can really strengthen your friendships and your relationships. If you've known them for a long time, you can merge for life. Would you like to have multiple lives with this person? If you do, and you decide, I actually want multiple lives with this person, what a beautiful time to marry. Yes, but if you actually understand that everything is everything, and everything is one, and we are all becoming overabundant, with you being a pinnacle of abundance at the moment for us, Leo, we will all grow through your own work. So if you would like to really manage your time and see how you can achieve and perhaps perceive larger concepts and larger creativity cycles, I feel that we would be very grateful. It's a very nice time to create miraculous work, and it's a very nice time to become. It's not about being famous, it's not about having that handshake, you know, it's just about bridging that which was before impossible with what is possible now. So thank you very much, Leo. Think big, keep the pictures open, keep your soul going forward, keep extending and enlightening. So don't just commit to that one little couch or that one little TV set, Leo, please. Become larger than life because the world is ready. Thank you very much, Leo. I hope to hear from you guys. I'm very excited as to where you are coming out as to be, and I'm very excited as to where you're going. Thank you very much and enjoy this month. Hi Virgo, thank you very much for being here. Paulina here talking to you about your June. So you're probably the only one that hears, and the only one who cares, and the only one who discerns, and the only one who knows. That is difficult. You might be the only friend that finds out that something happened to another friend of yours. You might be the only storage of secrets, but a storage you cannot be You have to let things out. You're the digestive tract, you're the mind, you got to let things filter through. Storing information and food inside is not a good idea. If you could, do not believe what you believe. And if you can, please release other people's need for you, because sometimes during a month like this, they might need you to cry with and to hold, but then at the end you might not understand as to what your purpose was. It's so easy, it's very, very cheap and easy here for another, and it might be very, very extreme perhaps for you to experience somebody crying on your shoulder, or somebody needing your help, and also somebody perhaps needing you sensually, or needing you socially, or needing you on some type of level. But at the same time, as homely as you are, and as kind and gentle as you have become, and as perhaps home-minded or ancestrally minded as you're becoming, it feels to me that Virgo, you guys, you're so good. You're so good at just living, like you're so good. And you're so good that you don't have to come back to others to tell you that you are. It's so easy here to become one of the best friends for a lifetime? No. It could be just one of the best kept friends, as almost like a service rather than an actual friend. It is also very easy here to become permanently involved in a project or a picture. It's also very, very, very cunning time to be with somebody else's idea of yourself. It is so easy here to start being martyr. It is so easy to start being the wife or the priestess. It's very easy to get involved in a three-way relationship. It is so easy here to become the one that doesn't need perhaps as another does. So for example, you don't need to sleep, you can just look after this person for the rest of your life. Or like, you don't have to wake up and do your own thing. You got to wake up and do all these errands before you have any time for you. You know, you don't have to have your own experience, your own business. You can just keep on trying to help this person establish theirs, and so on. So Virgo, please discourage yourself from being that special one, or that special person, or even in a sense a special product or a project for someone, because sometimes this does make you matter, but how much you can really achieve and you can really know, you can really become in your life is perhaps temporary in the long run. So the most important thing is not to commit and not to collect friends that perhaps have a very strong idea or an ideal as to who you've come to be and who you're going to be for them now. Being used, being the person that fills the void, very easy here. So being the person that says the word, fills the void, hits the spot. So the most perfect, precious time for you now is to, I love this, design afresh. Design afresh, a fresh house, a fresh situation, a fresh, completely yours, truly for you idea, a fresh table packed with ideas, a fresh connection to source, a refreshing beverage, a refreshing drink, a refreshing energy, a refreshing of your inner system. Fresh. That's the best. Time to get fresh, and time to get very, very, very open about youth, vitality, curiosity, curing of disease that you have, curing of any kind of dissatisfaction that you are still battling with, and not being a rag for somebody else's life. It is so, so, so simple here to get enticed in working for a business that exists for someone else's pocket. It is so clever and creative here to rather have a look at your own family, your own timeline, and how you can now perhaps structure something fresh. A very, very new idea perhaps cannot live, but it can later evolve. If you have an idea now, it might actually last you your life. If you have something now, you might actually be able to picture it forever. And if you have someone here now that is just completely unbelonging, perhaps elsewhere, and they just want to really cherish you and they want to do a simple thing or two, it is easy to imagine, but it is hard to sometimes forgive during this time. So things that are too fresh and too bright perhaps will not entirely last, but maybe consider a fresh new look on relationships. And it might not be that the relationship is here now, but it might be just over the horizon. There might be something going on. Also, there might be something going down. There is sometimes a thing that happens with Virgos, as we probably don't know, but we might be there as help for someone when we actually have our own issues. And we might not have enough for ourselves, but we still keep on teaching and showing another what we can. So the thing here is to recognize it directly. Recognize it directly what you've got, and recognize entirely what you need. Very nice time if you are to start reconnecting, to get things clean, to pack your bags, to get yourself creative perhaps about a couple of ideas that are yours and things that are truly for you. Make yourself known to the people, to the public in the way that you want to be known. Also start making yourself bright, perhaps making your sense as you like, so you can make sense as you like. Here, if you, for example, are tired of becoming somebody else's slave or companion or compartment all the time, maybe it's now time to put a nice bridge instead of having to be merged. It's nice to be unmerged instead of having to be somebody else's support system. It's very good now to have separate identity. It's very, very clear for Virgos to now start using the types of colors in their paintings that they really want to use, or wearing the types of clothes that they really want to wear. It's very nice here to be out with the fact that you are perhaps not who you are, or perhaps people cannot recognize yet what you mean or what you want. If you've had for a while a notion that you were different, or you had something going on, and perhaps you were afraid of other people finding out, that's a very, very good thing to tell. If you are now releasing the fear of telling another. So very nice to tell somebody else, for example, why I don't communicate the same as you is probably because I'm Asperger's. Why, perhaps I have autism. I'm on a mild spectrum of autism, which is why I don't really find fun in the same way as others, and it's okay. And you put a really nice line there where other people perhaps don't usually expect you to. But however, social fun is an important thing. Liven up by doing what you want. What you want. How you like it. Maybe you don't want to go to the club. Maybe you like jazz. Maybe you don't like jazz. Maybe you like ballet. Maybe you don't like ballet. Maybe you like the park. Maybe you don't like the park. Maybe you want to go somewhere. There is a very big rip, or like a rapture, I feel, with others, occasionally with Virgo, not really wanting to be known for who they are, and not really being welcome entirely, not really being welcome inside themselves. And then here we are in such a very, very, perhaps potentially impoverished time for those people who don't really want to feel free, for people who don't really want to be abundant, and people who don't really want to step out and say who they are. I have a feeling that one of the things that Virgo really needs during this time is to be unapologetic and to become completely own your own business, own your own life. Take ownership of yourself and become more proud and more connected to who you are and who you were, without the input of others to show you the way as much, because likely you already know what they're gonna say. So very, very, very difficult time perhaps to notice that you are actually becoming a lot more lucid during this time. I feel that you're becoming a lot more fresh and free. It is just not perhaps enticing for another yet, but they will catch up when they realize that perhaps underneath the identity that they have given you is another much clearer, much purer, much more impressive identity that we will start to resonate with come August. So yeah, we'll get to know you very well, but the best thing here is not to lie to yourself or to others, and the best is not to also believe in other people's stories. And that means not to be enticed with other people's karmic issues, and not to be the person that helps another person's karma get better. That's the thing, is to be yours, and then from this point of strength to believe in yourself enough to give something else. But that will come with time. It feels to me that this is more about you freshening up and being your own. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a wonderful June. Bye. Hi Libra, I'm fellow Libra Paulina, reporting from Wellington, New Zealand. You gotta walk away and you gotta let things go. Sometimes there's situations where things are just not working and you might feel it's happening to you or because of you or for you or something, but sometimes you just have to go. And as spoken of last month, you are the point which holds things together sometimes. At the moment especially, you might not see, but a lot of power play and issues and inactivity and things that are not going right are actually up to you to now design, redesign, redefine, leave and let go of. Let it go, Libra. Let it go. So June is something that I feel could be very interesting. It feels to me that you're finally getting to the point of your life and the point of why you are here. Perhaps the spine, it's like the spine of your life, the spine of your world. The main thing, the main purpose or the main dimension is wide open here. But if you are not clear and if you are not healing, if you don't actually really want to be here, sometimes that can collapse. If you are a little bit like me, I'm under the weather here in New Zealand, and you're feeling like a little bit futile to anything, it's like everything's futile, there is a chance you're carrying within you something that you do not need. You are probably bringing through an idea that you don't want to really work on, that you're like living a life that you don't really want to walk, or you somehow got into debt with a reality which you don't really need. You can actually give up. You can give up. Libra, you are the best sign for giving up. It's not a bad thing. You can just say, I don't want to. It's not true for me. This is not true. The worst thing that sometimes a Libra can do is they can just heave themselves into a conversation with life which they think moralistically should be reconnected through them. They can sometimes bridge gaps between people because they believe that that is what they should do. They sometimes be the social glue. They can sometimes be that one person. They can be that family member that tries to heal the whole family. But oh my god, where does your energy go? Energy. Everything about you has to be nurtured during a month like this. If you can, in June, and don't look at me because I'm not here yet. I will be here, it's just that I haven't gotten there yet. Okay, so in June, please consider taking care of your own experience. 9th house, okay? Taking care of your experience, taking care of your own savings, of your own world. And if you are really, really unsure as to why you plugged into the same story, why you keep on plugging in with the same issues or the same people, or there's like a health issue or ongoing habit, something's going on, you can do it if you just put on a piece of paper in front of you, perhaps like Virgos, the things that are working for you, the things that are right. You know, how much do you have in your bank? You know, what are the next few steps that you can imagine yourself taking? What are the people around you doing? What is the system in which you live? What are the capabilities of your soul? What are the possibilities? What are the legal issues perhaps that you are having or that you've had? What are the legal intentions in what you're doing? And where does it all come from? And how is it all held together by your own energetic spine? Okay, how it's all bound. what is the problem? Like, why can't you just go into the bigger picture? Being in the biggest picture possible, Libra, in June is great for you, but remind yourself here that sometimes with this particular alignment, as a stellar and Capricorn is intense, you might not give yourself the best picture. If you don't feel well, if you don't feel well as a human, get yourself feeling well. Believe that you're good. Believe that you're well. Let bygones be bygones. Sometimes Libra is a fill-in for other people. That happens. Sometimes it's a buffer. Libra can be a buffer and can be like a weight to balance somebody else out. Please don't let yourself be that. Please don't be that for other people. So you can be a buffer, so some kind of like a almost reconnection point for another. It is so simple and easy here, you guys. You just have to basically, because you're not meant to have a complex life if you're a Libra, especially Libra Sun, you can just basically let be and go. You can basically let everything go if you are not creating the best future for you, because we're all imprinting here. If you're not working, if you're not connecting, if you are, why am I here? If you're asking what is going on, if you are looking around saying to yourself, how can I make this count? Like, what are these people? Or like, what is this? There's usually, during this particular pocket of time, at least one or two ways in which you can just bypass everything and you can just get on that flight, or you can just get into that boat, you can get onto the team, you know, you can go into this direction or that direction. You can actually go for gold. But the worst thing about you guys during this time, because you can understand the full gravity of Capricorn, you can understand the full gravity of emotion, and you can perhaps understand the full gravity of people's lives, and you might feel guilt, or you might feel discomfort at the idea of letting things go too fast or letting things go too far. You might not feel comfortable about perhaps broadcasting your dreams. You may not feel broadcastable, you may not feel marketable, you may not feel continuous. So it's like, you are the 7th house. There is a part of you that is discontinuable. There is a part of Libra that is what people call a shallow. It is remarkable because you're going towards Scorpio. That means you are going towards the end energetically. So it's like you're walking towards that part of us all that just lets things go. You're the release, you're the allowing things to just be. So there is going to always be that part of you here. There's always going to be a part of you, Libra, that is completely uncontainable and not contained and not really allowed to progress, where other people are beating their drum and trying and scrambling. Say a Leo can sometimes go a lot further than Libra can, or say an Aries can go a lot farther or like a lot lighter, and they step towards those miracles or those dreams, because you are the relaxant for all of us. You are the relaxing energy. So if you don't mind, please allow a little bit of faith, and know that sometimes if you don't want to use your time with grace and beauty and ease and eloquence, occasionally you can be in a very grumpy, serious, uncomfortable, moody situation within which you probably don't quite heal yourself, or you don't quite see what's next. The best part of this type of transit for you, Libra, is just you lightening up if you can, and going towards that which is perhaps permanent on some level, but also light and fluffy on another. If you can imagine heaven, oh wow, if you can imagine heaven, where would heaven be? If you can imagine love, where would love be? Really, we're at the top of your sky. Okay, so if you are thinking these types of people, these situations are just okay, it's for the time being, no such thing as a time being anymore. We're imprinting here, so if you can, go out and up into the most beautifulest, the most lightest, and the most likable of spaces. Otherwise, what you present to yourself in your life might not be the best. It may not be the works, because sometimes when we are in your 9th house and you're looking around going, what is this? You know, if we are in your 9th house and you're looking around, you're going, I can't, I just want to collapse. That's not good. And also what this means is that you will probably not believe in your reality enough to keep it going up, to keep it growing and to keep it evolving. So this is the very interesting here archetypal spine of the chart between the 3rd and the 9th house, you know. We have really got to make you work out what you want and connect to the lighter, the most prettiest, the beautifulest heaven idea or the ideal of life. If you are not quite happy in your 9th house, you know, if you're looking around going, I feel stuck, if the top of your sky is like a lid, okay, if you have suddenly designed it so that you go inwards and you don't let yourself progress, there is a really deep situation of the heart. So the thing here, okay, is not to worry, not to work too hard, and not to let other people traumatize your inner sense of innocence. It is so easy to be traumatized. It's also very easy here to be traumatic to another person. The best part of you here, I feel, Libra, is that which dreams, which breathes, and at the same time as you consider the chronological nature of your life, that trusts that life is much more than this, that goes up and up. It goes up and up. It's like it expands out like a cloud and it becomes even more in faith of what is possible. It becomes even more in faith of where it wants to be. And yes, at the same time as shutting people down. Shutting down as well. Because you sometimes can't go up, up, up if you haven't shut down what you have on the other side. So it's like we're raising the roof here for you, Libra. It's like your life experience is raising, but also we have a very strong Stellar and Capricorn here. We're all kept together with this Uranus too. If you don't want to impress and if you don't want to expect, that's much easier. If you don't really wish to emotionally succumb, that's much easier. If you don't wish to be anybody for anything, that's much easier, because all those values may likely fall and may likely fold. If you've met somebody on the recent vibration of just wanting to heal and have fun, and your 8th house was enlightened with Taurus, Venus and everything like that, yes, there's probably a remainder of that. There's probably the remains of wanting something. But if you can, with other people, especially in terms of sensuality and power and experience, forget it. If you can, forget what you need with someone else. Forget what you're trying to learn from another. And if you can, expand out like a cloud. And as you're expanding out and you're going further into, you know, the ether of your dreams, as you are structuring your whole existence again for some of us, as you're expecting a lot more from your experience, as you expect a lot more beauty and a lot more life, as you listen to much more beautiful music, as you expect much more from art and design, as you imagine much larger houses and much bigger experiences, and as you perhaps understand that life is much more beautiful, much more sensitive than previously you thought, and as you think about nature differently, as you imagine the universe as much lighter, much more colorful, and as you imagine everything in the world much bluer, much greener, much purer, much more immense, you know, much more fresh than before. As you imagine you again, as you reimagine everything, here you might find that whatever's keeping you around on the previous dimension can just no longer be. If you can, close the door as fast as you can. If you do recognize that you have a person or a system or a job or something that just is really committed to grinding you down. If a person is really committed to taking the most out of your day, if a person is really, really committed to having you next to them no matter what, when they're not going anywhere. Lighten up, Libra, and if you can see more fun, more beauty, more purity, believe, 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 become open to more. stay true to yourself, but also see if maybe there is other dreams, other dimensions, even religion or spirituality, something, enjoyment, art, something to inspire you even further out of your previous self. Because here you really have to grow. So thank you very much, Libra. I hope you enjoy your month of June and don't hold back. Thanks, and I'll see you next time. Hi Scorpio, thank you very much for being here. Paulina here talking to you about June. Well, you are awesome, okay? And you are best. You're the best. You probably are definitely the best. And here's a little interesting thing, is that you're not wanting to be sometimes, you know, when you can see like, you got the best at something, you know? And you might have experienced so much, or you might have climbed up onto a ledge and you think, oh, whoa, I could have done this the whole time, or like, whoa, that's how far I can go, wow. And then here is not it, that's not it. You're not even halfway. That is important to know. When you have this much joy, or when you have this much capacity, or you got this much power and passion, it is not easy to see it. After, especially like if you are an underdog, you know, you haven't done anything, you have not committed to yourself, you have not had enough inner compassion, you haven't done it, here you are, and you're almost like starting to unravel that which was there for a long time, and here you are understanding your inheritance. You perhaps understanding your full capacity, and for some it may not be good, for some people it may not be good. Inherited feelings are not good. Feeling of inheritance can be bad. By being a little bit angry about things and being a little bit strong, you got it. You got it. People are gonna come in and mold you, I feel. And the main practice is not giving in, giving up. It's strength, it's sensuality, it's raw, it's dark, and it's scary for others only if they don't know their own truth. You and Capricorn are smoldering during June. You're smoldering, but you are not just that. You are the digging in. You are the digger for that which is true and that which is pure. Surgeries. If you do need one, don't get one, please. It is a permanent energy. Just try and see into your system. Try and see into the hereditary energy of yourself. If you have something going wrong, if you can, do not give out anything of yours now. Don't make the speech or don't make the action. Do not make yourself here permanent, because you are digging and you are making something. It is something very, very unconscious here, but you're on your own in a lot of ways here, and you cannot be matched. Some of us can. Occasionally Scorpio may find indeed a mirror, but sometimes it can be a fleeting mirror if we're not lucky, or if we do not feel like we're in love entirely with ourselves, with that which we hold. It is really, really tricky. It's a very fine line, but for some it's not. For some it's just about the exercise of power. For some it's about the exorcism of one's own previous concepts out of their own mind. It's a very heavy, dense, strong, meaty, even brutal time for us with Scorpio on this really like teeth gritting edge. We are not perfect as people. You know, people of this world, we are not a perfect people, but Scorpio can sometimes not handle that, and on occasion with these types of energies there can be a massive purge. With things so seriously placed in the sky with Uranus and Saturn, it is just not easy to sometimes give in and say it's okay, I'll just have another red wine and forget about the day. Scorpio has got a lot to teach. A Scorpio during this time can become the magic mind, the mystery solver, the magic part of someone's day. They can also be the incredible unconscious works. They can become the one, they can become the bread and butter and the whole day for another. And they could also very much commit. Don't. Please. This type of month, if you commit to a Scorpio or as a Scorpio, there is something going on. There is more than meets the eye. It is not easy to see. There could be one or two things going on at the same time as other things. It's like you come with an abundance of spirits, okay? You have an entirely different variety of expression than you had before probably, or you are between worlds and between dimensions. We're going through 8th house. We are on our knees here. Sometimes people are on their knees, sometimes they're not. Sometimes people will fight you, but occasionally they're asking for the end. If somebody challenges a Scorpio, they're asking to be resolved, to be ended, or to be solved really quickly. It's not likely that bedroom life is easy. It may be not that interesting for you, but for another person your energy could be very emotionally sultry and something that they can never forget or forgive themselves for not earlier experiencing, or something that can just take their breath away. The sensuality and sexuality spectrum was really unique, but by mending yourself first and being your own number one, you win, because I feel that you are at a platform, and I feel that Scorpios are going, oh my gosh, you know, it's already too much, like I'm already like too expanded, I can't, like my business has gone too far, or like I feel like I've been too much of a martyr already, like I've really pushed myself. And I think this is probably where, no, you will expand past this. This is a developmental stage. You will look at this time 2 years on, think you know, you will think, what a rookie. What a rookie. I thought this was gonna own me. Also with love. You will look at the person that you are now dying to talk to and go, what a rookie. I thought that was going to be me. That person was gonna merge with me. You might think, I thought that sensuality or emotion was hard back then, or I thought it was challenging back then, and look at me now. I was a rookie. So a lot of what you have is going to reoccur, but it's going to be in a much larger, more magnetic spectrum. That means that if you could please in June, I'm Scorpio, also got a lot of Scorpio, try to no longer need seduction in your life. Try to no longer expect or experience the grief and the darkness that sometimes the magic world can give, but also with love and sex and using your body as a certain type of kindness. If you can give in to the need to cry about this, or if you can let go and release these needs to create webs for other people's interest or for other people's resolution of self. If you could pack away any type of energy that is marveling at itself, or anything that is constantly ongoingly trapping connections or trapping other people's money. If you have like a very unsound or unsatisfactory business idea, or if you are making something that is mass produced that's not good for you. And also it is also very, very easy and very, very clear here to see those Scorpios that don't need the care and the love, trying for it just to see what it is like. It's very easy to see a Scorpio here with a very young lover or a friend who is not a match to them. It is super easy to accidentally become the teacher of somebody else. It is very, very, very easy to become someone else's number one, but not even number one. It's like a regular relationship where another person is like this, but they kind of understand that they own you, and then you are like that, but at the same time, you know, where we're going next, where are you going to go next? The best, I think, is to understand that you are learning and you are also structuring for real. So serious, not serious. Okay, so how to take this? I think that this is a serious time. Hereditary and the backbone, or like the marrow, it's like the insides of your world, are probably now seen. But it feels to me that also there has to be a start together with somebody or with you or something in such a way which pushes you over this edge, because on this particular energetic edge it could be very, very easy to satisfy yourself thinking, okay, well, that's what I got, okay, this is where I am, this is how it is. You know, you have to go over the edge. So the thing is to try and become a more emotionally and perhaps spiritually resounding being during this time, and trust that what you have or what you've got around you isn't it, and that the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come, and it is not easy, because sometimes there is a darkness that comes with expansion, and during this particular prism, as Jupiter is, you know, on the edge here, this is not going to probably be the best time of your life to expand. It's not probably the soundest, the funnest, or the easiest, or even the healthiest sometimes time to really call upwards, crawl into new things, to really try to really serpentine over and into the next future. It is not the easiest, it is not the most, how can I say, correct energy to also pull apart from what you've had. So it's like you're evolving your whole world, you're lifting your whole platform up, and you're pulling it all up into the next best. It's not the easiest, it's not the healthiest time sometimes to try. Things can be borderline, things can be on the edge here. But if you don't, and if you stick to yourself how you are now, in 2 or 3 years, you will regret not moving on and not trying new things. So if you can, keep on spinning up, keep on going, keep on going, keep on going, and try to get to this level where you don't want to go any further, not because you can't do it, but because wow, I can't believe I got there. I can't believe I did this. That's what you're aiming for. So by about the 20th of June for sure, there should be a platform for you where you're like, oh, I can't believe this, look at this. Oh my god, I can't believe it, I can't believe it. So up, 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 and into the new. So thank you very much, and I hope that you can hold yourself up. You can hold yourself up high in esteem, and at the same time, do not be afraid or unnerved if somebody else sees you as a teacher or doctor or master, but don't design your life, please, around those frequencies that already can accept you as that, because there's higher ground for you by the end of November, you will see. So thank you very much, and enjoy your projects, your progress. Enjoy your projects. Enjoy your projects. Enjoy whatever comes out of this. Thanks. Hi, Sagittarius. Sagittarius, you are the one. You are the one. Sorry. Hi, Sagittarius. Thank you very much for being here. You truly have discovered something very interesting about you, perhaps in the previous months. You might have now a very curious and exciting, or like an exact perspective of who you are. I would probably not think so. I feel that Sagittarius is going through a little bit of a ruckus time, like a child, a little bit like a child. It's like when the cats are away, the mice will play. So it's like Saturn has been out of your sign for a while, and you're going, phew. And Sagittarius might be feeling, I can now do this, I can now do that, I can now run up the stairs really quickly, and I can lift all this weight. Please don't, okay? It is very, very, very simple and easy for Sagittarians now to grab a bag, grab another bag, run off into the distance, try for it, try to be their previous selves. It is so easy to imagine that you're 12, that you're 13, you can do anything. can dream big, you can build a fort, you can have fun, you can have a relationship that's based on your friendships in the past, and that you could dive into the new, or dive into this new frontier that is almost, in my field it feels almost like energetic suicide. So please don't take this too seriously, this word. What I mean is, it's like busting up the current with the new. What you feel as the new could probably just be the old here. It might be that you are looking at a certain pattern in your life. Maybe you are revisiting certain childhood themes and childhood feelings, and these are not going to energetically, emotionally support you later. It is just a revisiting of your past. It feels to me that careful steps with another are important, with you and for you with us. It feels to me that marriage and the game of life should not be treated easily. I feel that other people's company should not be taken for granted. As before said in the previous month, there are going to be people that are not gonna any longer be there anymore, and it's going to be the snapping off of things anyway. There's going to be a snapping off of a couple of people in your life that perhaps before had an archetypal or like a landmark type of feeling. And I feel also there could be a grafting of the new, but try not to graft onto anything just for the sake of seeing how it looks. It's very, very simple and easy now to design a life with somebody who just looks good. It is so simple and easy to just walk into the job where you just like wearing that powerful suit. It's much more than easy to just become the well-known producer, to bring together people, to start a game, to teach people, to do the workshop. But is it even powerful for you? Is it powerful for you? Are you in full control of your life if you are developing or inviting these things into your world? Do you feel that you could totally be empowered or impressive to yourself with this particular person in your life? Do you really understand as to where you are going? Probably not. And we've got a huge, huge opposition there before the month is through, with Capricorn and Cancer calling your name Mummy and Daddy, but also it is the situation of reaffirming your views, reaffirming your life. And whether you like it or not, by the end of this month, you will perhaps eventually see, oh gosh, I was just playing with myself. But then the whole imprinting time, where is it going? It never goes to waste. You can have as much of a disjointed life as you like. You can have as many fairy tales as you care for. You can, if you'd like to do it this way. And Sagittarius can sometimes have a life of multiplicity, a life of collectibles, a life of funny words and curious things. But the thing about you guys is that you have to put it together if you want it to make sense. What I mean is, we got Capricorn, Saturn here. If you want to make your choices with great pride and diligence, if you would like to have greater self-respect, if you want to structure a career, if you want to structure the best marriage in the world, if you want to have a family that you trust, if you want to have a trustful or trustworthy business idea, if you'd like to make a big impact on the world, you might want to take it down a notch and see what you got. There are at least 2 or 3 things that you're doing here, perhaps even people, that are just not worthy of your time. There could be at least 2 or 3 things that you've done in the last while that have not been things that you can take forward or make further. You could have, like, say, 2 or 3 different groups or 2 or 3 different things that you are constantly submitting your energy to that are not actually making any sense chronologically to your world, and energy and time are becoming incredibly imprinting, and hence they are becoming incredibly valuable and incredibly safe, perhaps, to trample on. But also understand that we have a lot perhaps in common. Yeah, we have a lot in common, but we don't. Okay, so what I mean is, you can give your time very little satisfaction in the end. Time is compact. time is pure, time is very, very strong and very grateful and also very worthy in Capricorn. You have a great opportunity to really structure. You can program, you can make that dream come true, but whether or not you'd like to spend your time with love and with true appreciation is a question, because sometimes Sagittarians go through phases where what's yours is mine, but at the same time want to destroy everything. And it's like kick everything open the door, open this, open that, and sometimes you can open many doors. And you can kick in a door with someone whom you probably want to be with only for a while, but it ends up for life. And on the other side, you can also structure a life with somebody who's only meant to be there for 1 or 2 days. So very, 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 very careful planning with marriage and partnerships for Sagittarians. Please don't discount the full lifetime of a person. And please don't go, changing to try and please me. Don't go changing to try to please another. Have a look as to how you have come out as a formula through your life. But also, you don't need to be too serious here as well. Everything is within great clarity here, and perhaps not for you entirely, because this could be an emotional experience, an emotional affair, but most of us can see pretty good. The best product of time during this time isn't laughter and love and just curious things. We have actually a very, very tumultuous sky. I don't believe this is the best sky for friendship building, but friendship solidification. This is like friends together. This is like making sense. It's like going together for life. This is like villages, okay? This is like settlements. In terms of you bringing yourself over to another person's world and expecting it to be just a night, or expecting it to be just a curiosity, is very harsh later on this year. It's also very, very easy here to fall and not know that you have. It's also very easy to have unsound structure inside, super easy to fall and think is just a bruise, but it's something else. It's very, very kind of you not to think of things in such a practical or pragmatic way either, but with things there just has to be a nice chronological solution. There's got to be a nice linear way in which you wonder also about other people. So for example, if you have a partner and that partner has never been with another person, they've never had a partner before, or they've never been in love, consider this, because for you this could be person number 75 that you've been in love with in your life. But for them, this might be, the only one chance to really feel true feelings. Consider if you, for example, falling in love with someone overseas over just, a glass of wine, and you're enjoying yourself so much, maybe consider how that person is going to feel when you go. Or would you feel good about you moving on? So very, very easy here to create romance, but two, very, very clear time to create a structure for those experiences that are not good, or just are not going to give you anything more later. There's nothing wrong with it for some people, but there is a lot more crispness in the air than it seems. It's like if you break someone's heart, this could be yours broken next week here, okay? We've got instant karma for some people. If you, for example, get somebody out of their partner's bed and into yours, very easily they could become your partner. You might not want that, or you might not want to be with them at all, or it could be that their heart is broken, they can't go back, or their relationship starts tearing itself apart, and then you do not know what to do with that avalanche. So with all of these things, it is not easy to gracefully see what is going on, but it is super, super easy to make a few adjustments where you can actually walk. So look at your family line, look at your dad, look at your mom, look at what they've done, look at what they managed to do, and try not to discount the previous hereditary experiences, what your family has managed to become, what your life has managed to be as an outsider maybe in some ways, as Sagittarius sometimes are. as who you are has been sculpted and molded particularly as you, and then what would be the next step, which is a nice medium between where your family wanted you and where you wanted to be, and then try to make a nice connective emotion. Perhaps this is difficult. Try to accept, so connect emotionally with ease and kindness to the whole chronological resolution. And then in your life there will probably be places and situations with people in the next few years where you are catered to and you are made space for. Okay, somebody else will make you something, somebody else will make space and an exception for you, an exceptional thing for you, if you can accept the chronological linear style of reality which this particular world is based on. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy your June. If you've got any questions for me, if you've got anything like that, everything's in the links below. So yes, I hope you enjoy, and yes, I will see you next time. Hello Capricorn, you are a lucky boy or girl. Okay, you guys, you have fruitful times. You can just reach up and grab anything you want. I mean, during this time you can just, if you do you want anything? Capricorn, usually you do, but here you may just look at it and it's almost like you don't want it to move. It's like you're looking at a sandcastle, knowing that one little step, one little touch will mar it for life or will change things forever. This is a very, very unique feeling in you guys. I feel that you are watching things, you're looking at people, you're looking at life, and you might feel the smallest adjustment or that little word, that little action or that little feeling can actually spoil the show. And you're right, because you have things as you want them. Maybe you probably have everything exactly where you want it, and that includes us people. The thing here is not to worry if things change. That is something that sometimes happens ironically. So you may not have a lot of love or care for things, and you may not have a lot of love and care for yourself, and you may jump around, butt heads, and do a lot of different things, Capricorn. But here you are watching it all and you're looking it in the face. It's like you're looking at it, you know, and now a slight motion, a slight movement, something can break the sandcastle. It can break what you have in front of you, and that is where your fragility is formed. But not just this, your love is graceful during a time like this. You are graceful. You don't perhaps want to be, perhaps you may not want to see, but you are. And here is why: because you know that by the end of June you are known or you're seen, and suddenly your deepest emotional sense or your greatest capacity to love bursts through like a hurricane or like a tidal wave. If you do want to connect to that which you see, if you censor yourself, you might just break it later, you might burst through. If you have been and are still in love, you know, if you have, and how can I say, if you have the feeling that you will never ever want to say another word to this person, or you don't want to admit how you feel with these particular situations, so you're just not sure, like you're just not sure, it is not probably the best idea not to say anything, because what I'm seeing is that there is like this blissful, almost holy retention. There's this kind of feeling that takes you back, and then when the time probably is not right and probably everybody's peaceful and everybody's sitting down at the table to eat, and then you like burst it out, something bursts through, you can close the door, you can empty everything you have, you can just completely destroy us, and you can even actually destroy your own world through wanting so much And there you have it. It's like a very dark energy that comes through sometimes for knowing that it's gonna end, or knowing something's gonna change, or feeling the confusion in the air before a storm. I feel for you, you guys. I feel for you. The most important and impressive thing you can now do is not to concentrate so much on that which is perfect now. Not to like breathe on it, almost like you try not to breathe, you know. It's like you're trying not to, you're afraid perhaps of touching that person that is finally here, or maybe you're like a little bit afraid of connecting on that level. The thing here is to allow and to trust your heart, to trust yourself whole, and also it's very difficult to trust the universe for whatever they brought. The most epic change is not gonna come unless you really hold your breath. Okay, so Capricorn, you can hold your breath. You can hold your breath for a freaking lifetime. You can hold your breath with this project or person or thing, you can. And then when there is this incredible potential of things dissolving, you know, the waves come and the sandcastle is close to them, you know, or something like that happens. On occasion you will perhaps shout or energetically scream or do something wrong, and occasionally for you guys you can be disconnected, banished or snipped off from the situation for life, or you may not know how to climb back to that particular feeling of bliss. The thing here is not to go for it, and it's not to hold back. If you are in love and you actually finally understand who you're looking at, and you finally understand, recognize your world changing, and you finally realize who it is that's there for you, and you finally realize what is there, and you are making it so difficult for yourself to accept you and accept this chance, or to accept this possibility at the same time, you could actually devolve everything in your world. And perhaps for some of you guys it is also very easy to devolve even your health and even your knowledge of things. You can become out of mind or out of spectrum, or like out of rhythm with things if you can't just connect to that which is holding your gaze. The face that you're looking at, that person that you are looking at, that person that you are trembling in front of, or the person that feels to you like home. And it's almost like scary how homely it feels, or it is like almost impossible. It is impossible. The energy of completion, or the energy of connection and the final frontier isn't where it should be. It feels, if you are waking up to someone and every day you're afraid to even look at them because they are so precious to you, or if you're finally waking up to a true emotional sentience, keep it that way, but work on something more. Just make a nice balance, make a nice connection between worlds. It is all good, it is all good, it is all right, it is all right, it is all right, and make it something that works. Make it something that works. Try to make it that you don't get emotionally upheaved and internally grotesque over things that perhaps with time may seem just as a remark from God, or as a small gift of fate. And as you look back to this person later in life, or as you maybe, if you're in your 30s now, maybe in your 45th year or something, 15 years from now, 12 years from now, as you are looking at that particular time and that particular person, or this particular experience, or this face, or this collective, or something, you will see, oh, there was one of those experiences, you know, that God just kind of threw my way, okay? And you will not need to believe that this was the pinnacle, or that this could be the be-all end-all life-changing thing. I feel for you guys. I feel for you. When you feel and when you find that it's almost like nothing could be better, there is a catch. There is a catch. You are not real when you think this is the most amazing, your progressive cardinal frequency you're meant to build. You're meant to go up. Go, okay, that's cool. And go up. Okay, that's great. Yeah, okay. And you're walking yourself up towards something that perhaps doesn't even yet exist, because as you take a step, Capricorn, you make things happen and you make reality grow into itself. You are the connector, okay? You are the creator here, you know, on many levels. We have Saturn truly embedding in your sign. We got it at a very nice trine to Uranus, you know. We have a very, very nice sky for you to just get yourself connecting to that which is now, looking and going, oh, that's a really perfect person. Oh, wow, that's a really perfect world. Wow, that's a really perfect version of you. Or like, wow, that's a really perfect thing here. Make it a consistent feeling, but don't make it the break or make. What I mean is, it's super, super freaky here. If you aren't happy with yourself later, you might also be very vulgar about this time. You can rip things up and rip things out with the root. It is a very strong month, and you can probably feel how permanent it all feels. And then by the end of June, you can just give into it. Just give into it. Just melt it down, melt it all through, and enjoy as a sandcastle becomes sand again. You know, enjoy building a new castle even larger than the previous. Enjoy making even a larger commitment to your husband or wife. Enjoy making even a larger spectacle of your life, of your work, of your love, you know. Enjoy it. Enjoy what you can. But the thing is, if you don't trust you, then who is gonna start you in the right direction? It's just you, Capricorn. You're very lonely, solitary frequency. You have to be in a greater trust of yourself. And then through this, you will become much better with your timeline. Thank you very much, Capricorn. Enjoy this transit, and I hope that you receive a lot more this month and this year. Thanks. Hi Aquarius, Paulina here, speaking to you about you in this incredible month of June 2018. Okay. Okay. Love and life cannot be easy if you don't commit. We talked about this for a while. Okay, so we got Saturn in the 12th house, you guys. We've got Mars there, okay? Sarah's there, okay? Lots of things are there. And it's almost like we are all around and we're just looking at you. Aquarians. Listen to us, people. You can perhaps see a few people in your life slightly maneuvering you, very lightly helping you connect to that which then manifests for you for a long time. The most emotional feelings, the most subtle ones, the something, 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 isn't it? Emotional feelings during this particular time can be romantic and can be a little bit like crying and laughing at the same time. There could be peaceful sorrow, there could be beautiful anger, there could be a flamboyant joy, and there could be a sad, truthful forgiveness, and there could be lots of emotional debris. But the best part of this is not here. The best part is in the slow connection within what counts. And guess what that is? Where you've gone, where the doors have opened, where the light has shown you who you are, where there's everybody ready, everything is set, everybody's smiling, okay, waiting. Okay, there is a wedding that's ready to be asked for. There's a proposal in the air, maybe. If that's true, if it's been true, is it time? No, not for Aquarians. No, for Aquarians. For Aquarians, maybe there is something on the way. Life is tidying everything up. But what you can sometimes do is not to see these emotions as cosmetic melancholies. We've got Capricorn gracing your 12th house by the end of June. We have many people awaiting. We have got a miraculous moon in the 12th. Before you commit, we've got something waiting. We have something waiting, and it is all about you slowly trusting. Are you trusting? Can you trust? Can you turn your mistrust into a certainty? Maybe perhaps miracles can happen. Do you want to maybe say something? For example, I don't want to marry yet. I'm afraid. Like we had that fight. I'm afraid about it. Trust that she'll understand. If you don't quite yet want to embark on that big career move, that's okay. What is there? Oh, I don't know. I don't want to know myself in that dimension yet. I don't want to be the big boss lady yet. That's okay. And you may be surprised. Just don't keep this going on for too long, but maybe one or two sayings, one or two words can really expand you, and you can probably find greater peace inside if you just let it be shown, only if you need to though. For example, I love my girlfriend, but I don't feel that she's gonna be my wife because when we had a fight, she told me this. I never got over it. Tell her. Tell the world. It's not okay to torment yourself from the next step because of that one thing that someone else has said. It's not good. If you are tormenting other people, also consider that sometimes people can be medication, and people can be very, very exciting and emotionally universal for you, not because you actually want them to be, but because they're easy and they come to you. If you can, please discontinue any kind of communication with people that is medicating you and doesn't actually have any story attached to it. If you're walking with someone who's easy and not someone who's in the heart, and if you are just taking someone's time when you know there's something else perfect for them, why talk to someone who you know is needed somewhere else? Why give somebody the keys to your house and your life when you don't want to actually walk with them, you don't want to be with them? Tell yourself the truth. There could be one or two reasons why you keep around somebody you don't see as your equal, Aquarius. Why do you have to suffer, like say when someone who you actually are in love with is probably not knowing or is not heard of even in your life anymore? Where are these things that you are doing coming from? Why is it that like when you really want something and you connect with it, I see infamy. There could be infamy in the air. And this is something that happens sometimes with so much activity in your 12th house. A feeling of infamy. And that is hard to see. For example, you're about to wed, but then you are messaging somebody else, you know, or you're not looking towards the good, you are looking towards the not so good. That always happens with good people, you know. When there is a chance of greatness, there will be almost like a devil on your shoulder type of situation, and we have to resolve it. You have the capacity to really change your life. You guys have a huge capacity to really step out into a beautiful quantum field and to smell the air. You have the chance to start a job that is peaceful and beautiful and fine. You have a chance to talk to yourself and another with equal kindness and care. But if you don't feel it and you think that it is not possible to be in cahoots with everything, or if you fear that the possibility of true friendship or the possibility of true love is not entirely it, you may not want you to express the best. You are entitled, okay? You guys are entitled, and you're growing fixed sign. Everything is a little gift. Everything goes towards the right energy. Everything is usable. Everything is connectable. And here you also have a lot of heart, perhaps, to not want to That's actually quite an interesting spiritual irony, to not want to build and just to let things be perfect as they are, pure as they are, pure as they've come to be, great as they have been. That's true as well. You know, it could be like, why marry? We can just be forever young. You know, we can just be this. But consider, perhaps it's time. Consider. I feel you. You know, some of you guys are mixing up your experiences with very progressive ideas, which is great. Some of you guys are out of body. Some of you guys are not with it. And yet the world turns to you and asks, where to next? Where do you want to go? What do you want? That's rare. Not too rare, but sometimes it happens that the world takes everything away and goes, you like it now? And you go, oh, but me. Look, world is turning towards you Aquarians, and now I just say, okay, just take the gift. You know, if it is a house, move. If it is a marriage, go. If it is that person, call them. If it is something, just take the gifts. Take the gifts. And then when the time is right, you will see that they were just little tiny small things and you want much more. Maybe that's why I don't want to take them now. So yeah, the thing is, you are given, you're suggested to in proportion. Okay, so that's the thing. If you as Aquarius feels hard done by life and you don't really accept what is given, you don't feel it's enough, and perhaps if you don't want to get married because you don't trust this person, or if you don't want to have this house because you just don't like the foundations, okay, walk into it anyway. Walk into it, have it, experience it, enjoy it. It's not easy sometimes to move past it into greater connections or greater collectives if you don't have this fundamental step. So take the step, enjoy it, and go up further. Thank you very much, Aquarius. Enjoy your June. I hope this made some sense, and I'll see you next time. Oh, my naughty little Pisces friend. Hi. Okay, so what's on the menu, you guys? Guess why I'm asking? We have to spruce you guys up. We have to make you connect, and we might need to look at your house, and not just this, we might look at what's cooking. We might want to see what's cooking for you in your own very past, and perhaps why you've designed it so that you don't have more, why you have less, or why you have more when you deserve less, and what is the balance between the past and the present continuum with you now. Piscean men and women, wow, you guys have lots of heart for the world, but you might not want to see where you go, where you're sleeping, where you're eating, why are you doing this, what are you doing, and how, every day, not just for work, not just for play or pleasure, just what's at home, what's in your house. Open up the cupboards wide, what's inside. Maybe perhaps someone needs to go gluten-free, and maybe someone else needs to go vegan. But the main thing here is also to see the main kosher feelings and blow them up bigger instead of scrutinizing over what's on the packet. What are the best feelings? What's going on with your parents? What has gone on with your past? How are things at home? What are the best times you've ever had? What is the best? Oh my gosh, you guys, you're preparing the soil for us all. In June, you have got the time and probably the money and probably the wisdom and the skill to really uplift what is beautiful in your world. You can really radiate. You can choose those colors. You want to redesign your future, you might want to start now. Everything is connected. Everything is energetically permanent and permeates with great meaning and bliss. Maybe you need to change the rug. Maybe you have to paint the walls. Maybe you've got to buy another house and sell it. Maybe you'd like to do something else with your family life. Maybe you want to do something with your family line. Maybe you want to have some kind of a very deep karmic recognition or a very nice deep karmic cleanse, maybe perhaps a colonic, you know, maybe perhaps some kind of a very, very strong aromatic treatment. Maybe it is nice to look after your skin. It might be very nice here to look after your health and to also offer yourself to someone else, because sometimes karmic issues are not as easy to see, understand, or resolve when you're in a different seat. So for example, never been a mom, never been a dad, and you're just looking, oh, mom, dad, oh, and you're like 30 or like 40 years old and you're still like growling at your family line. Very nice to become a mom or dad or someone else just for a while. You know, house somebody in your house, or they'd be very lucky. You might not want it though, because I think that Pisces has a really nice rearrangement of what is public and private, and perhaps you don't want people as much as you did in the previous couple of years. Maybe you're looking at people now going, ooh. And now having a person in your house maybe is not as seductive or satisfying as it was just a few months ago. But if they are in your house, goodness gracious, how lucky are they? If you have somebody staying at your house, if you got some karmic debts, like say if you got a cousin or a friend or something, or a companion, they're staying inside your very own house. Wow, they're lucky. They're lucky to be with you. There is a lucky symbol. There's a lucky symbol with you. There is a luck as almost like a statement wherever you walk through the doors. There might be also somebody new here within which you can see a spouse, or maybe you can see a future addition to the house, or who could probably be there to entice you into a new rearrangement of your past, future, present in the 4th house of Gemini for you. The gorgeous ending is coming. If you do not like how you are, if you are grumpy and you're walking around the rooms like a senator, you know, and you don't feel very good about how everything's graced, you have no respect, or you have no connection to anything you see or anything you own, especially with those who are with you, are beside you, they remember you, they hold you in their mind. These people are going to come in handy later on in life. If you did not like them, didn't trust them, you didn't want them at all, and if you've got a very, very negative feeling about the world as you've come to be a daughter or a son or something like that, you might actually find come June's end, you might already see that there is a huge void, a crumbling, or something that cannot be fixed and cannot be restructured. So here we are either putting together and growing, or we are snipping off and changing. The best here is not to shift through too much. You don't want to maybe shift through too much. I feel that the best time here is not to rearrange things frantically or manically, because 4th house doesn't really stand a lot of manic changes. If you have frantic or frazzled activity in your home, that's not good. So what I mean is frantically changing things, anything that is made towards the curious. If you want to make things strange or different, if you want to suddenly get a tattoo, it's not good. If you want to make a big change in your house, it's not good. If you want to suddenly melt down everything you've had and create something different, it's not good. If you want to, for example, disturb someone's peace and really tell them how much you love them or how much you need them, that's not good either. But I would trust you more than me, Pisces, because you're the top of the sky. You are the top of the line person, because you are the 12th sign, so you are the evolution master of the zodiac wheel. So you might know many things that I don't as to how you do things. But yeah, power, pressure, it's a pressure cooker feeling here in the sky for you in the 4th house. I feel that with pressure diamonds are made, the feeling is that you can now spruce up and change, though it feels to me that a lot of this energy, this frantic or aggressive energy, if you choose, that's the palette in which you paint, or like this changeability within your field, everything that's happening with you now, I feel is definitely like being inside a mountain where things are cooking. It's like you are creating diamonds, you are making something inside, you are beginning to perhaps really shift and really change up a lot of what we probably previously did not understand existed. And maybe you also recognize you. You probably also recognize you in a different sense as we are looking at your present, past and future continuum in your 4th house. The best idea during June, I feel, is not to think. That's difficult. Not to think, you know, we are in Gemini. People are going to really try and remark. People are going to really try and even terrify the people with how much they know, understand. Oh my gosh, did you ever know? La 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 la. You know, Leo is getting a huge power push from God. I mean, really, people are really expanding their brains. Libra is becoming the visionary of its own future, of its own kind. I mean, Capricorn is really sensing what it is to think. And you might do the best if you don't. Thinking, limiting yourself with your thought could now probably be very, very understood or praised. I mean, you can already perhaps see and understand how little thought you need to really function. I mean, I don't think, I don't have any thoughts. I have none. You know, I don't do that thing anymore where people process information like a washing machine of clothes. You know, like we all have our own ways of functioning mentally and spiritually, but you don't need to think. During this time, stay out of the social game. Stay inside your own connection points. Be in your house and perhaps be one of the very, very first people, or one of the very, very strangely private and universal people to provide that social sparkle later. However you choose to do it though, perhaps this type of life that you have now is not for you. Perhaps this type of world in which you are evolving is not entirely yours, and probably it is not entirely joy which you feel. I have a feeling that you can change your present, past and future, but do you really want to? If you definitely do, stay connected and also see how you can automatically create decisions, how you can automize your life, how you can perhaps see if you can switch off this washing machine in your mind, and also how you can teach probably even another as to how to do the same. So how to stop navigating life through worry and through tragic conversation and perhaps believable or how can I say, it's like reheated, you know, reheated ideas. Things that are not real, true, you know, things that are not of the heart, things that are of somebody else's passion once upon a time. So you can really, really do a lot of good here if you don't recycle yourself, if you don't recycle your thoughts, and if you become completely pure. So Pisces has got a nice window here to become completely pure and to become completely great. But whether you would like to or not take that next step and surprise and delegate your time in a very, very different or a very, very sincere way, whether you'd like to really take that into your capacity or not is up to you, because you are, in a sense, the ruler of energy. I mean, Pisces, 12th house, you really know how to do it, you know? So the most practical thing here, I feel, is yours is the life to design, the dreamer. You are the dream, okay? So take it into your thoughts and focus as to how. And I hope that you have a beautiful day, and I hope that you feel great. So thank you very much. Enjoy your June and happy changing. Thank you. Bye.